Welcome, welcome to the Crochet Show with your host, Nikki. Today, we're going to talk about all the details in terms of crochet hooks, meaning what is every part called, what are the different types out there, what should you be thinking about when you're shopping for crochet hooks. All right, are you guys ready? Let's start with number one, okay? Number one is, what even is a crochet hook and how do you hold it? Okay, to define very simple, a crochet hook is known as a needle with a hook on the end, okay? And it was actually created much later than you might think, okay? I don't know the exact date on top of my head, but I know it's way later than knitting, meaning knitting came before crocheting, which is kind of cool, right? And knitting obviously has two needles, whereas a crochet hook has it's a long stick-like thing, right? With a hook at the end. So therefore it's known as a needle with a hook at the end, right? So that is what a crochet hook is. Now let's talk about how do you hold a crochet hook. Okay, well there's two different ways how you can crochet or hold your crochet hook. One is this way, right? It looks like a pen or pencil, right? That's how you hold your pen or pencil, right? So that is called the pencil hook. So you'll put your finger right here in that middle where the grip is, right? And you would hold your hook like this, and that's how you would crochet. That's the pencil hold. Let me know, are you using the pencil hold? Or are you using the knife hook, which is actually what I use? So assemble a knife right here, right? So, you know, when you're cutting something. So this is how it would look like if it's the knife hooks, right? You still have your finger on the grip, your thumb, right? And you're holding it like this. And usually the other hand, obviously for me, this is my left hand, this is my right hand, would be your yarn. Some people actually even have it on the right side, meaning they control the hook as well as the yarn on one hand only, and the other hand can be just holding the project, right? So that's two different ways on how to hold your hook, the pencil way and the hook way, the knife way. So which one are you using? I would love to know. So that is number one. Very simple and easy, right? So let's talk about number two, okay? Number two is, what are crochet hooks made out of? Well, there's different types, right? Typically, it's either metal, which is aluminum or aluminium, depending on how you say it. Then we have plastic. It can also be resin or something like that, typically known as plastic. And then we have wood or bamboo, so meaning a natural fiber, right? So those are three different types of crochet hooks. Now, sometimes, specifically ergonomic ones, typically also have rubber or something on there to make it more comfortable for the hand when you're holding the crochet hook. So you can have like a rubber extension or something around your hook. It can even be wood. Some people even put wood around the metal crochet hook, right? And then you have that as well. So there's many different types. So we're going to go into details regarding that as well. So that is the types of crochet hooks. What is your favorite type? Like, is it the wood? Is it metal? Is it plastic? What do you prefer? So the next thing I want to talk about, crochet hook throat types, right? Which would be inline, tapered, or a mixture of both, right? Okay, so there's three different types of throats, right? Or heads, okay? That's actually kind of part of the anatomy, I guess, right? Let's talk about it. So what you first want to know is, what is this? So this is the head, right? So let's talk about the anatomy and then take the throat into consideration, right? So we have the head, right, up here. Then we have the throat, which is right here, which can be different. Then we have the shaft, which is typically right here. Then we have the grip, which is right here, right? Sometimes it has a grip, sometimes it doesn't. And then you have the handle, which is the back part of it, okay? So let's talk about the throat. So there's different types, obviously. You can tell right here. So we have the tapered, which is, you can see right here, this is the tapered crochet hook, right? And then you have the inline crochet hook right here. Now, inline also has typically a pointy head. Okay, so you have the inline, which means it is in line. That's a very straight shaft right here. So you have the straight shaft and you have a pointy head. That is known as the inline. And then you have the tapered, which is typically rounded head, and they're kind of a rounded, not exactly straight, not as straight as this one. You can see how straight that one is, and this is kind of a little bit rounded right here. So that will be the tapered, right? And then of course we have the mixture one. So right here you see this is actually the inline. This is an inline shaft, right? But it has a rounded head, which makes this tapered. So furls crochet hooks are actually a mixture of both. I do have to say that that is an amazing feature, and I absolutely love this because this grabs the yarn better, but this allows me to not split my yarn, right? So this is why I actually like the rounded head. It doesn't split my yarn. Pointy things usually are more prone to splitting the yarn, although there's of course the problem also that some yarn split more than others, but that's a different discussion regarding S versus Z twisted yarn, right? So, but I would love to know, do you like the tapered, the inline, or the mixture when it comes to that? I would love to know if you have a preference here or if you don't care. I would love to know. So that is pretty much how the anatomy of a crochet hook is determined. So let me kind of repeat this here by pointing it on this one because it's the easiest way to see it, right? So head, throat, shaft, grip, and handle. Okay, back here's the handle. So one more time. Head, throat, shaft, grip, handle. Okay, so that is the anatomy of a crochet hook, and as you can see, there's different types of heads and different types of throats, and a combination of them, meaning you either have tapered, inline, or you have a mixture of both, right? Which is kind of really interesting. And then the last point would be different crochet types. So I'm talking about specifically the entire thing now. Okay, so these are the different types I have right here. So let's talk about all of them, okay? So because you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like how I'm supposed to figure out what I like, what I want, right? So we have the most common ones, as you probably know, are boy and Bates hooks, right? So these are the ones that look like this. They're, you know, they have a grip and they're simple. There's nothing special on them. They just have a different head or different throat, right? And then we have the metal ones right here. Okay, so metal ones are typically very teeny tiny, and I'm talking about, I should call them actually thread hooks, right? They're also metal. You will never really see a wooden one that is this tiny. It's typically metal ones when it comes to thread, so really teeny tiny. This one, for example, is 1.3 millimeters, but there are smaller versions of that as well, okay? So we have the thread hook, we have a normal hook, right? And then we also have Tunisian crochet hooks, which look like this, right? So you can see I have two different versions, okay? I have a very long one, which is, you can barely see here on camera, right? A very long one. Sometimes you can even find one with another hook on the other side. You want to make sure it's the same one, same size. There are some where the size is different in the back, okay? When you have it the same one, meaning, let's say in this case, it's a 5 millimeter, right? If you have a 5 millimeter here and a 5 millimeter in the back, that allows you to do Tunisian crochet in rounds, okay? So if you have a different one in the back, that might not quite work, okay? Just to keep something in mind, there are crochet hooks where you have different sizes front and back. So this is a straight one, obviously metal, right? And then you can also have this in you can have wooden ones or bamboo. So this is a bamboo one. This is actually one with an extension. You can get these without being able to take them off, right? So like this, I'm able to take this off and on, right, as I wish. I have here a stopper in the back. This is clover. Love these. There's different length of the extension, right? And there are some where it's permanent, right? Where you can't take them off. So that's something to think about. I don't like it when you can't take them off. In fact, some of these are really, really thick tubes. I don't like them. They're kind of, they don't bend very well. So this is a really, really good one. I gotta say that. And there's also a weak crochet one that I absolutely like. So where you can even add another hook on the other side, right? So not just a stopper, but you can also add another crochet hook, which is really cool. And then now let's go and talk about the ergonomic hooks. So I have just a few types of them, but they're of course way more out there. So this would be this would be a clover ergonomic hook. Right, there's different versions until certain size. You will see metal here. There's a certain size when then the plastic ones start. So typically for the bigger ones you see plastic, and then for the metal ones they're smaller, but there is a limit, okay, until a certain size. This is what the ergonomic goes. As you can see, the thread ones don't really have ergonomic, right? You could be adding something on top of here or on the bottom of the body of the handle of the crochet hook, but not every single one has that, right? So you could be adding something here. These are a favorite of a lot of people, right? So you can hold it like this. My problem on these, and I used to love these, right? I started with these hooks when I first crocheted, right? I started with these, and then I got these, and I was like, oh my God, they're amazing. They're so easy to use. But I noticed one thing, okay? And that is that it poked me all the time. It literally poked here my hand all the time. I guess I have a big hand, I don't know. But I guess for smaller hand people, it doesn't affect them very much, or they don't care. It doesn't really matter, right? Or depending on how you hold it. If you hold like this, it doesn't really matter either, right? But for the knife hook, it poked me, right? And I didn't like that. So, which is why I tried the froze crochet hooks out, especially because I love the idea of combining inline and tapered together, right? So we have here a wooden version, right? So you can see this is a wooden version. Actually, the wooden version is more of an inline versus a combination of it. So you will see the wooden ones, which are the streamline. The wooden ones specifically are more pointy, but you can see this is also a streamline, but this is resin, and you can see that the head is more rounded, but you still have the inline part right here, right, even though this part is tapered, right? So you can see there's a combination here. Same is true for the candy hooks. The candy hooks are plastic, like lighter plastic. This is resin, this is real plastic, right? And then of course you have also the Odyssey hooks, which have this resin back, and then they have the metal front. It's actually more weighted in the front, therefore you can crochet faster and easier, right? There's less, some people consider this too heavy, right, versus a hook like this. However, I must tell you, because it is a little bit heavier in the front, right, and the way it doesn't poke me here in the back, right, then it actually allows me to crochet faster because of gravity, literally, because I'm going downwards, right, and when I crochet, and therefore it's easier for me to crochet with this one. I prefer this one more than the other ones. The wooden ones are not per se my favorite. I've never liked wooden crochet hooks per se. This is bamboo. This is a little bit different because it is for Tunisian, and Tunisian you crochet slightly different, right? Obviously, if you've ever tried Tunisian, you'll see that. I prefer a inline hook for Tunisian crochet versus a tapered hook. Tapered hooks don't allow me to grab the hook, the yarn the way I want to. So I prefer not using the tapered hook for Tunisian. I prefer the inline hook. For anything else, I prefer the tapered or a mixture of them. As you can see right here, this is a mixture. This is my absolute favorite one. So if you've ever seen any of my tutorials, you will see that I use mostly the Odyssey hooks for all my tutorials. But you can try any of them. So when it comes to beginners, I would definitely suggest someone is starting with either a Bates or a boy hook, because they're cheap and you can really figure out what you like. Do you like tapered or do you like inline, right? And then you can go upgrade yourself to, you know, any of the other hooks, whether it's clover, whether it's furls, or any other special ergonomic hooks. There's many different types, as you have probably noticed. So I would love to know, now knowing all this information about the different types of hooks, are you going to stick with your favorite, or are you going to upgrade? Are you going to test out other crochet hooks? Have you tried Tunisian crochet actually with a Tunisian crochet hook? Because it's actually a really different type of crochet and it's really interesting. It's a combination of crochet and knitting. All right, I think I talked about every detail now about for all the crochet hooks, the anatomy of it, right? We talked about different throats, we talked about different types, different materials, pretty much everything you want to know about crochet hooks, right? So I hope to see you guys next week for a brand new subject. Head into the link in the description, scroll down. You have also a link there for furls in case you're curious about them, and check it out. If you use Nikki15, you get 15% off. So there's that. So if you do want to try that, you can try that. So, and one more little thing I want to say, and that is about tension. So if you have a tension problem, go up in hook size if you're too tight. If you're too loose, go down in hook size. So a little tip on the side in case you have any trouble with that. I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, bye.